Hello everyone, this is Father the Ever-Chosen, coming to you with some new content in Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. So we're gonna jump into a campaign here and start a brand new character. So while we're loading into this, hopefully some of you were able to catch my last video where we ended out the Empire in Warhammer. But onto this game. So I'm going to go and start as a Batanian. I like that 10% less forest penalty. You're always in the forests unless you're in um, the Asrai lands far in the south or the Kuzite lands far in the east. And then I am going to play a male.
Victory! Victory! Take them down!
And we'll go with that. Relatively olive tone skin gentleman of above average height. Oh, nope. Olive tone, above average height. And then I just like to randomize the face. You could sit here and play with the sliders all day long. At the end of the day, as long as the face looks generally alright, you don't look at your character's face all that often. Picking the eye color though, kind of a brown. And for hair, kind of make him semi-similar to myself. Slightly long hair. Dark brown hair. And a large beard. We'll leave him unblemished and unpainted. So for this, you can either pick skills that are going to instantaneously help you, or you can pick skills that you're not going to be leveling. Regardless, you're going to level the skills that you're going to use. So it may be smarter to pick skills that I'm not going to be leveling. I'm typically a horse archer, and I like the pole arms. I like the lances versus using one-handed swords. So I think having my parents be the bards, get the roguery skill and the social, one for the social point and one for charm. We'll grab aptitude for numbers, for intelligence, engineering, and trade. We will grab let's go with sold produce at the market to increase the social. Having a high charm will help, with bartering and with marriage proposals, and then increase the trade will just increase how much you're able to sell things for. So I think at the very least we can put marched with the camp followers here, increase that roguery. The high roguery skill will help when it comes to any looters that you find on the map or other bandit types. Then there is a skill later down the line. You are able to upgrade those into just mainline troops. I don't typically use throwing weapons, but always to have that would be nice. Let's go with invested some money in land. That'll give you plus 10 to the renown, the intelligent attribute, plus to trade, and plus to smithing. And then this last one. So in this, obviously I chose more of a min-max versus a story that I've built for myself. You can obviously build your own story in your head and think, oh, this is, the path my person took before they had to take on the life of the road. And we'll grab Subdued Raider to just get that little bit of athletics up, and the one-handed. That should help with any tournaments. My name, we will go with Taelion. Realistic. And we'll go with just normal for the combat AI difficulty. And we'll start the game. So when we first jump in, I'll just skip past this tutorial. Not necessary. Been playing the game on and off for, I don't know, since the day it came out. And this will be Taelion. Oh. Taelion. Oh, fantasy last names. Taelion. Taelion Hevrech. And his banner will sport. Oh. Let's have it be the Viper. We'll shrink the Vipers down. Black and white. So the first thing we'll be going and doing is just grabbing some basic troops after we do these minor upgrades. So trade will already get to start. Let's see. A 5% decrease to trade penalty for equipment. Also, your profits are marketed, or for trade goods. I'm going to go with Appraiser, only because if you're going around the battlefield or the map fighting all these battles, you're constantly picking up spent weapons and armor, and that's more what I'm going to be selling than buying flax or anything like that. And my starting, one sec, done. Starting inventory, I've got a spear, some throwing axes, and a sword. So we will increase my polearm skill. And let's move just gently through the land, and we'll pick up a handful of recruits, and we'll go through and let's pick up a few things of grain, some butter, some cheese. Oh. For now we'll just keep with the grain, and when we move down to Canaros, we should be able to buy a Sumpter horse, increasing our inventory capacity. We'll buy the butter and the cheese here, and recruit these 2 Imperial recruits. Now hopefully we can still catch up with these looters here. And early doors, I'm going to be fighting as many of these battles as I can. Let's just get rid of that tutorial real quick.
Warrior, move!
And we'll have our guys move into position a bit. So, like I said, I don't typically use the thrown weapons in this game. Alright. So the goal for this one will be to man, these recruits just didn't stand up. They got 2 left. My medicine's going up. I don't believe all of them died. We can check. Yeah, 2 of my recruits did make it out. 2 of them unfortunately did die. But early doors, that's going to be kind of a par for the course. And at this point, we'll just have to do some cycle charging. And hopefully not get captured in the first fight. If I do get captured, I do plan to just play it through. Anything that happens, I'm going to try my absolute hardest not to save scum. There should be no reason to. Pole arms up to 12. And for anyone who hasn't played this game, your upgrades for all your skills are coming at divisions of 25. So once my polearm reaches 25, I'll be able to pick between 2 skills, and I believe those are an increase to my own health or an increase to maybe damage. There's 1 looter. And my riding will always increase as long as I'm fighting while I ride, and it will just passively increase on the battle map. So walk away, get a little bit of renown to increase my clan tier and the morale, keeping my troops in fit fighting condition. So yes, 2 Imperial recruits wounded, done. And then we'll go through these. Nothing is better. So I should be able to sell all that, and with that perk that I had picked up, it should be able to sell a bit better. So Poros here will be a pretty good starting town to market my things through. Trade. And it seems like that'll be that. I'll get a small amount of wealth. Nothing too crazy. And we'll go over here to Annika and recruit a few more troops. Now, right here from Legita and Oresteia all the way over to Danustica and up to Ampharella. All these, slightly variant purple colors are the Empire for anyone who hasn't played, and they will all give the same types of troops. This is Britannia, the green. You have Vinlandia, the orange. The Aserai lands are in the south. Then you have the Kuzite tribes, and you have the Sturgians up here in the blue. So they all give out different troops, and then there are a litany of other troops that you can get from minor factions, and of course there are the bandit type troops. So we'll head back here, head to the tavern, ransom that 1 looter, and we'll try to avoid this fight for a little bit. Obviously, fighting is the only way to get your skills up, but as you can see down here in the right hand corner, I'm only at 60%. And here is Pharaon. So there's also a underlying quest that you have to do called Neretez's Folly. And Neretez's Folly just has to deal with the last emperor and how he ended up screwing up at this battle, the Battle of Pendrake. And you have to talk to 10 different individuals who either participated in the battle or had loved ones participate in the battle, and their feelings on it. So you have to talk. It's basically the faction leaders that you have to speak to, and after you speak to them, then you can either decide to, well, at any point you can decide to join any of the nations, but once you're done with that, you will assemble the dragon banner of Calradia, which is the country, and then you can choose to either back one of the 3 imperial factions, one of the 4 or 5 non-imperial factions, or you can decide that you want to reunite the empire under your own banner, or destroy the empire under your own banner as well, and then, you know, become another world power. In this playthrough, at this point, I don't know which I would rather go with. I have played as a vassal every time so far. You know, I've been watching the patches come through and just wanted to wait a little bit longer, but I think maybe this playthrough we will try and have the white serpent spread across all of Calradia. See, that forest bonus is coming in here. And unfortunately, we're going to have to fight this one in the woods, but it shouldn't be too terrible. The woods are relatively open. Now move my troops up. Let's see if I can get any axe throws to connect. One, 2. That last one was especially good. And that time, all my men survived. And 3 of them were able to be upgraded. So, we'll be grabbing everything. We'll pretty much grab everything every time. And we will wait until all of these men can be upgraded. If you don't, you may have troops, especially if you upgrade some to archers and then leave some as just regular foot soldiers. The archers will be getting their kills before your infantry are even able to engage. So we'll try to avoid that fight. So they won't level up, and they may be singled out in some of the auto resolves. Fine, we'll engage these 15. We'll see how we do here. They're going to be approaching us. I'll leave my men back here first. Now, normally, if I would have a bow, I'd be able to kite around and do enough damage to these guys before they engaged my troops. Because, like I said, I don't use the throwing weapons. Now, I think I'm doing a relatively passable job. But with the bow, you're doing just far more. And if I can keep all my recruits alive, then all of them should be able to upgrade. Need a bit of reach. Now, it does appear that some of my men did end up dying, but some of them... So 4 of them died, 2 still ended up living. This guy's retreating, which is alright by me. Still going to take the free kill and experience and increase my pole arm. And there we are. So I'll walk away with 2 prisoners, and now I only have 3 Imperial recruits. I will upgrade them all to the Imperial Archer line. We're going to grab this headcloth, and everything else will be for sale. So we'll jump over to Poros again. And hopefully, as we build up, our small little army, we'll take all 5 of these guys. We'll go, we'll trade. And slowly but surely, we will build up enough where, money won't be necessarily the problem. We'll be able to enter the arena, enter arena fights, and start winning some better equipment. Chasing these small bands of, 5 to 10 looters is probably going to be the norm for a long period of time. And you can always check your speed. My speed is at 5 right now, and his speed is at 3.5, and mine's at 2.3 in the woods. But looks like I'll catch him probably just in a moment. So hopefully we keep everybody alive. The archers stay alive.
Footmen! Onward! Bowmen!
And now I'm able to individually give out orders to my men.
Warriors!
So these are my footmen.
Move out!
And we'll just, as many ranged weapons as we have, we will use all the shots on them. There's no reason not to. And that's everybody. So we did end up losing one of the Imperial recruits. But I will build that guy into an infantryman just for now. Now, like I had said earlier, some of those recruits may get singled out now, but we are going to need some semi-proficient troops to take on, any any threat. And I'm trying to deliberately keep my band small, because the bigger your band gets, the more you have to deal with speed issues. And forest bandits aren't necessarily a terrible thing to try to take on, but they are typically archers, and sometimes they have mounted components to them. The looter is just, the basic plain Jane, lowest tier unit in the game, and they're just easy experience to farm early doors.
Infantry! Get move, arrow! Onwards!
Always try to have my archers stationed behind my infantry, because I'm always up fighting in the front lines. You don't want your men to have to retreat, and then you're not there to either issue the commands, or you're not paying attention enough. If you watch my Warhammer videos, my micro can be bad, and in this game, your micro definitely does affect some pretty huge aspects. We'll get in here and cut that guy down. One more looter. He was able to kill that recruit. Come on. And he's dead. Done. Imperial recruits. And we'll take all those and build them into Imperial infantry. So now we've got 3 archers, 3 infantry. And we're picking up some other good things. Grain and wine will, continue to fill out our food. These arm wraps I can equip. Everything else seems to be, just good stuff to sell. And early doors, you'll be leveling, fast, and any skills that you use level quite quickly. Every 3, you're going to get an attribute point to increase, one of your attributes, and every level you get a point to increase your focus in a skill. So like polearm, I know I'm going to focus that. I know I'm going to be using vigor a lot, so we'll bump that up. And then right now, I've been using the throwing. I don't mind it, but using a bow is definitely going to be where I want to go. And we'll bump up the riding because you're always on your horse. And it's very important that you don't let skills that you're using hit that cap, because once they hit that cap, they're not doing anything for you. I think even still I can take them on. So this first episode will probably be, hopefully, right around 45 minutes. We'll put the archers on slight elevation. They'll get, the ability to fire longer. I'll sit back with these Imperial infantrymen. And hopefully these archers are able to pepper them enough, reduce their health, where my men, charging in, don't instantly get killed. And all in all, not too bad. Those Imperial infantrymen did not die. They were just wounded, which is good. And my archers can now go to, 2 of them can go to trained archers. That third one is still wounded. But those trained archers will definitely prevent me from losing battles. They're going to be very important. Just keeping continuously winning is definitely the key early doors, and not getting captured. Once you get captured, if it's late, later in the game, you're going to have money squandered or squirreled away. You can always walk around. You might have a better reputation, but early doors, getting captured by bandits, you just lose all the progress you made with this small band. You don't want to have to constantly be starting over. So hit here in Annika, grab those 3, we're back up to 10. I gained another level, so should be able to focus this somewhere. And just make sure that you're checking through. Medicine, anytime your people get wounded, you're going to be using your medicine skills. So it's nice to have a focus point in there. Your learning rate increases a bit. So these 8 looters, I'm going to run them down. And it looks like it'll be in the forest. But you can't necessarily always, take the battle map at face value. Sometimes, this is, yes, it's in the forest, but there's, if I had archers, more of them, I might station them over here instead. So they've got a longer and more clear line of fire. Okay, that looter's dead. Was able to take him down a bit. And hopefully, within a few days in game time, we're able to have a large enough force that we're going to start taking on one of the minor factions. And we'll really start gaining some renown and experience for our troops then. because you have to get all the way up to Clan Tier 3, I believe. And in this screen, you can see I'm Clan Tier 0 at 34 renown. I believe you have to reach maybe 50 renown, or maybe it's 150, or maybe it's 100 renown. I wish it told you for Clan Tier 0, but it tells you for every subsequent tier. And the higher your clan tier, the more troops you can field, the more companions you can have. You just have access to some better bonuses. And obviously the main way to raise your renown, without being part of a faction, is to constantly be taking out these looters, or, and unfortunately there isn't one, you can sometimes end up in a city that is holding a tournament. And if you are skilled enough and you win the tournament, you will walk away with some better gear, a slight renown bump of 3, and if you have money, you can bet on yourself and you might be able to walk away with some semi-decent profit gains as well. So let's see if we can run these guys down. And this is a lot of what's going to happen early doors, is, running around the battle map and just chasing down these looters. But it shouldn't take too terribly long. If you don't know what you're doing, it takes a little longer. But since I have been playing a bit, I know a lot of the early door stuff. Once we get to the kingdom management and building, which is an aspect of the game I haven't explored, we'll see, how well my skills are then. But hopefully we just end up, rocking it, and we end up killing. We'll probably take out these minor factions first, and then at that point we should have enough renown and enough trained troops that we can decide to take out whichever country at that point seems the weakest. It may be one of the 3 Imperial factions. It could be Britannia. More than likely I wouldn't want to take out Britannia, since they're such a central location. You're going to want to take a castle that is remote. This castle, Orstochorus Castle, is a good castle. It's out of the way. Morena Castle is pretty good. You can see where they're coming on this bridge, and then this bridge down here to the south. But we'll have to cross those bridges later. Steady hand, increase the accuracy. This doesn't cost anything, so if you hit one of the milestones, hop over, upgrade it real quick. It's only going to help you, and since it doesn't cost anything, there's truthfully no reason not to. Let's see if we can get these recruits a little more upgraded. We'll keep these archers back here. Hopefully they're able to pepper them enough. Obviously, when I come into battle with my troops, I'm going to be the one who does, the lion's share of work. So I'm going to get the lion's share of experience. But if you auto-resolve, which is eventually a pretty good thing to think about doing, your men will be getting the experience. One wounded, just a recruit. And all 4 of these Imperial recruits are ready to upgrade. So I'm going to put probably 1 as an infantryman and 3 of them as archers. I like, and if you watch anybody else, most people like heavy infantry and heavy cavalry armies, or heavy archer and heavy cavalry armies. The infantry, you want a good core, but archers can just do so much damage, and especially the Imperial line, they go up to the Imperial Palatine Guard, and they are not only a very good archer unit, but in melee they are quite formidable, and they have a very high armor skill. So they're pretty good units all around. So their speed is 4.9, my speed is 4.8. I'm more than likely never going to catch them. So we'll take a jaunt over here. And let's see if there's any troops to recruit. Nothing. We've got enough food for 26 more days. So we should be pretty golden right now. Alright. 2 looters ended up being able to catch us together. Thus making the size of their group, a little bigger than I'd probably want it to be. But, if we hold this position right here, our archers should be able to fire, pepper them down, and in the end, we'll just take these guys all out. There's one. And up in the top right hand, you can always see what's happening. Whether, Imperial Archer, that red skull means that he was killed. And as long as it's green, that means that unit killed that unit. If it's white, it means that they wounded or were wounded. So we did end up losing most of our infantry that are guarding our archers, but our archers now, just shooting fish in a barrel right now. My polearm, one more battle, should be able to get up. And unfortunately, we did lose 2 of those Imperial infantrymen. And you can always look through some of the weapons that you get. This falchion, its swing speed is better, its cut is worse, its thrust speed is better, but the length, especially on cavalry, is really what I tend to worry about. I think it's a very important thing because the shorter it is, it really does affect how close you have to be to your enemy to hit them. Sometimes you may not think that it would. This blue exclamation point, I know that this is an army that I have to, the Lord in it, the Lord that's heading it, I have to speak to. Thais, I'm Taelion, and can you tell me about the battle? And I've already read through all these, and like I said, the flavor text that the game has created for the individuals is to try to help you determine what you want to do, whether you want to back, certain countries, which leader seems the most, worth it to back. And since we've kind of already decided that I'm going to be creating my own nation, we're just going to forego listening to any of their squabblings. And just keep our minds made Unfortunately, I need a high bow skill to use any of those, and crossbows cost, just a whole bunch. So, hopefully I can find a cheap bow somewhere. This Imperial Light Lance was just all around better. And I believe I'm going to get rid of this rigid broadsword and in favor of a shield. The shield will just help, especially even against the looters, just deflecting those rocks that are coming in. Alright, we're kind of on the backside of a hill.
Move! Get moving!
Hopefully our men get into position in time. And my horse does not go fast enough to couch my lance. And if you are able to couch your lance, it will tell you in the item description, and you'll build up enough speed, and then above where it depicts what weapon you currently have out, it will show an icon of like your lance's position, and you just tap E and you will couch the lance, and then instead of having to just thrust at your enemy, you can just ride directly into them, and it does a massive amount of damage. And I'm quite weak right now, so I'm going to just put my shield up and Taelion off to the back lines. And that's all she wrote. I didn't lose anybody, nobody was wounded, and 4 units were able to be upgraded. Capture those. These Imperial archers go up to trained archers. The infantry go to trained infantry. And the trained archers, I can either go to the Imperial crossbowmen and then the Imperial sergeant crossbowmen, or I can go to veteran archers and then the Palatine Guard. For this, I think I'm going to go with the Palatine Guard. Not that the crossbows aren't good, but the Palatine Guard are just excellent. And for the infantry, I will end up going to the Legionary because they carry that shield, and it just makes them a little bit more defensible, especially when it comes to the incoming arrow fire, or in the current state, rocks. So extra HP, very good to have. We will... Looks like we're going to be stuck with throwing for a while, so we will improve our throwing. So, depending on how high up we get, it may be worth it to just keep the throwing instead of going on and taking a bow. Like I said, I am quite partial to the bows, but if I get the hang of, throwing weapons, and I will already have a skill in it since I start with the weapon, then perhaps it will be best to just keep it. We're heading over here to Dedustica. Do some trading and some ransoming. And perhaps now will be the time to open up the encyclopedia, go to the heroes, and just look and see about these wanderers. So Aston the Fish, I know that he is in this town. So if we look at him, he's got some middling scouting. He's got some good throwing, some good one-handed. He's generous, and he's devious. but he could be a companion that I could take along, who I might be able to assign scouting to, and he would improve the line of sight on the map, and he could fight in the front lines with my my frontline soldiers. But you can also look through and go, Her the Falcon. He was seen in Sinala. He's got 100 tactics, great riding, really good throwing, good polearm, good one-handed. He's daring and generous, so he would be a good cavalry commander to have with me. And you always want eventually to get a companion. A good companion to have would also have like the medicine skill. So let's see if we can. The healer. Lisarad, the healer. She's devious, but she's got a good medicine, and she also, I could put her in like a secondary line so she could, throw weapons. So let's see where she is. She is in Sionon. So we track Sionon, and we see it's clear on the other side of the map. Probably not going to make it there before she leaves. So we'll just travel around. Next town we get to, perhaps there'll be another companion. We'll look them up real quick. And if they're good, maybe they won't be terribly expensive. And we'll be able to start fielding some companions. Because you definitely need to have companions. They are, it's like having another, character in your party, and having another person that has, strong skills you can map out, and you can choose what their equipment is. All right, I missed one of those shots, which, doing better with them, which is a good feeling.
Move out!
We're going to back our men up so that they have a longer time to fire as these enemies are coming over the hill. Back up. Alright, so these two guys have been pulled away. And I should be able to ride down these enemies. Alright, they were in perfect. The tactics that we ended up using were good. And it's definitely important to pick, troop placement. So these troops were prisoners of the looters. And I could take them, but the Asarai peasants, if I take one, you'll see they upgrade to watchmen, and then either this mercenary cavalry line, or they can get up to hired crossbow or hired blade. Now, for right now, just to fill out my army, I will probably take them. Now we've got 18 troops. It's a pretty sizable force. Hopefully still fast enough. 4.8 on the regular map. They're only 4.9. Possibly I'll be able to catch them within, and there we are. So I'm just going to send my troops, and we'll look. So 4 wounded, no dead, and 1 was able to be upgraded. And that will be, what we need to be doing a little bit more now is improving my troops, because I know I can improve myself. Whether our troops are good or not, we'll definitely sink, or we'll sink this game. So hopefully everybody's enjoying the content, of Mount & Blade. I am a firm lover of this game. So, Trey Guy the Outcast. Let's look up Trey Guy the Outcast. Wanderers. the outcast. So he's got 60 tactics, decent riding, good bow. So he is a good Kuzite horse archer. So if I could recruit him, so we'll go in and we'll talk to him. My name is Taelion. Tell me about you. So I will read through, some of these ones because I have not read all of these. So my clan was among the last of the Kuzite to live out on the open steppe, moving from place to place in the old way. It was not a large clan. You would not have heard of it. It became even smaller when our encampment was surprised by an imperial patrol and our flocks slain and scattered. Those of us who survived were forced to refuge in a village under a large clan whose name you may know, but I shall not mention it. They protected us, but they treated us with contempt. We were told to hew wood for them, to bring them water. We submitted. For the sake of our old and our nursing mothers, we submitted. But it was hard for the young men to take. Perhaps I was prouder than most, or quick to anger. One day, one of them insulted my lineage, and I insulted his. I was angry, but my words were ill chosen. Our protectors said they would no longer protect us if I remained among them, so my clan banished me. Indeed, misfortune does not mean you must submit to humiliation. A man must eat. It's easy to find traders on the steppe and take their horse, but a man, unless he wishes to live like a beast, must also have people to buy those wares and give him food and blankets. There are merchants here in the towns who will buy horses without asking too many questions, and sometimes have other work for me. Right now I'm between jobs, so if you've got any work, I'm willing. Let's see. He wants 7,100. I don't have that. And that will be, a pretty common thread. You'll find a companion that might be worth it, but they might, just be asking way too much money. The cheaper the companion is, the worse that companion is. But companions are just like you. They still level up. They have some skills that are capped, but you can typically level them up enough where they are usable, and you can always dismiss your companions. You don't have to use them forever. I should have auto-resolved this just to gain the experience for my troops. But it's more entertaining to watch me circle around and throw axes into these guys. At least I think it is. It's more entertaining to play it this way. We'll move our archers up and hopefully just have them take out the remaining. Yep, that guy died, and as he fell, I shish kebabbed him. Oh, if we could get over here. Let's move this way. Let's go to Oroch. Ooh, 10 looters. Actually, we'll take them. They've trapped themselves on this little island. Surrender or die. And I should be able to send my troops. And yeah, 6 got wounded, but no dead. 1 was able to upgrade, and it's this veteran archer. And now I have a Palatine Guard. So that Palatine Guard is just going to improve my chances in the auto-resolve. Now if we go to this city, or this small village, I can recruit troops here, and I can get the Kuzites, and then you can look and see what the Kuzite line is. You can go up to these tribal warriors, and then continue with the archery line, or you can go heavy lancers, or you can have kind of a skirmish unit that they've got spears on their back, or just regular archers. If you do go with the Kuzite, I would go horse archer or heavy lancer, but be aware that for every upgraded unit, you will need a horse. And that can get expensive, especially early doors. So hopefully there's a tournament going on here. The arena is closed at night. We'll go to the tavern. Hernrog the Knowing. Let's look up this, nope, Wanderers. Right here. The Knowing. So he's an engineer, crossbow and one-handed, merciful and close-fisted. So if we were to get into sieges, which eventually we will, especially once we start founding our own nation, we will want somebody with an engineering skill. So if we can get this guy early doors. All right, let's see his story. My father learned his trade in the time of the old Urkhun Khan. Back then, the Kuzites were invincible in battle, but had little knowledge of rams, catapults, or even ladders, and even the most humble fortress defied them. So Urkhun, a man of vision, offered to pay the weight in silver of any imperial engineer captured alive. These captives were forced to teach men like my father the art of siegecraft. My father, in turn, taught me. Now, in Urkhun's day, if the Kuzite apprenticed in siegecraft went to work for another master, it meant a very painful death if he was recaptured. But times have changed. The richest plums of the Empire cities have fallen, and they built their walls higher than they once did. The Kuzite lords pay less for a siege master, and that pay is often late. So I'm up to taking other employment if it is offered. Of course, a good engineer deserves his pay. Indeed. Well, at any rate, if you find there is an inconvenient wall between you and the objective of your desire, and you wish it reduced to rubble, you know where to find me. I can use somebody, and he wants almost as much as the last guy, which makes sense, but as long as these guys don't despawn, we should be able to come back and hire him later. And every so often you will be able to find some of these mercenaries that you can hire. So let's hire these guys on. That initial cost of 400 is weighty, but you've got these Kuzite armed traders, all 4 of them. They don't upgrade, but they will be able to help us enough, and if I deploy them first, perhaps they will be the ones that take the deaths over other units. And always, if I keep them, or if they don't die, you can just station them inside one of your castles. Oh, I think at this point in time, we're probably not going to be able to get a companion till much later. Nope. We're going to head back. Oop, there's a looter. Now the step bandits that you see, they are mounted, and they will give you some trouble, especially in the auto-resolve. You may lose troops that you don't think you should. You could lose, my Palatine Guard, which, has no business dying to anything, that is of this, of the looter bandit type troop. And that's another thing. You really do have to pay attention, because every so often you will be pursuing somebody, and if you lose sight of them, will just stop. And if you look away, you're looking at your phone, you walk out of the room for a second, you may think that you're traveling around, and you no longer are tracking anybody, or you've fallen into a larger army than you can handle. So this is definitely not a game that you can just look away from. See, and those step bandits, there's 18 of them. They're all cavalry. I'm going to really have to, I'm going to have to fight this. And there is still a pretty good chance that I won't end up being successful. I don't have very good armaments for myself. Horse is now out from under me, which is always just a good, big bonus. Hopefully, my men do well enough, but I have already lost 2. They have lost 1 though. So I still, nope, now I've lost 2 additional. If I can get back to my men, perhaps I can salvage this. The big thing would be to get back on a horse. But the likelihood of that is quite small. Oh, that step bandit is dead. That step bandit is dead. That step bandit is dead. I'm back up on a horse, which is a huge bonus. I'm back off a horse, which is a malice again. There is perhaps a way to salvage this. Nope. And nope, I guess I have a unit still out and about. And I don't know, perhaps if this unit gets off the battlefield, then they drag my corpse off, but I didn't think they would. So in the end, they lost 5. I lost all mine, and I am taken prisoner. And this is, the unfun part. You just have to basically wait until either you can pay them, or somebody comes and attacks them, or you just end up slipping away eventually. But all the progress that I had made with that small army is lost. Most of the time, you're able to keep most of your equipment, and see, so after painful days, I now have a chance to escape. And luckily, I have a 7.7. There's no way they can catch me. They're 7.1. As long as I don't do something incredibly foolish, I should be able to get away. And we can recruit some troops. And you have the Aserai line as well. The Aserai have good archers as well. They have Mamluk Palace Guard, and they have Mamluk heavy cavalry. Now they have some very good heavy cavalry. Right now, beggars can't be choosers. I will take this guy. And I will take these. And now, eventually, you can get... Ooh, I should still be able to win this, even with low health. But eventually, if you get good enough relations with people, they will give you access to higher tier troops, and then each individual nation has a hidden, I don't want to say a hidden line of troops, but a better line of troops. If you've watched any content about this game, you may have heard about the Britannian Thane, and they are part of the Highborn Youth line, and they are a quote-unquote hidden troop. They're just a much rarer troop. And if you do end up getting them, you definitely want to keep them alive. So we'll capture these prisoners, these Aserai recruits. I will upgrade them all to Mamluk. And I guess we will go south, and we might start pulling more of our troops from the Aserai. Recruit troops. Nobody. Leave. And then we'll come south here, and one of these gentlemen would be somebody I would have to talk to, but it does look like he is going to get taken out. So now, since he's no longer in the area, I will not be able to speak to him. He typically, when an army gets defeated, either they have gotten captured, or if they're lucky enough, they have been able to retreat and get back to one of their closest cities. See, so Aserai youth. This is one of their good lines. So you have the Aserai youth, horsemen, Faris, veteran Faris, and then Vanguard Faris. They are some of the best units. If you look at their stats, you've got a 220 in polearm, a 220 in throwing, a 280 in riding. So they are just an excellent troop to have. The only thing about them is that eventually their wages will get higher, but it's definitely worth it to have. And cavalry is very good in this game. I would say almost as good as the archers. So in here, Aserai tribesmen. So if you recruit this, obviously you will never be able to take him down these two paths, but still, right now, very much so worth it. The last thing I would like to do, if I can, would be to show you a tournament. Desert Bandits. Desert Bandits are, so 9 infantry and 3 cavalry. Fight me if you dare. I have never fought Desert Bandits. At least as far as I know. So we're going to keep...
Attack! Move out! In wedge!
We're going to keep them in wedge formation.
With me!
And if we're lucky, there we go. Harami, that is probably another semi-hidden unit type. They were able to take them down. And then hopefully me and this horseman, ooh, Jesus, we'll be able to, nope. And in the end, I was able to get captured again. So these are, very clear things that, you should see. I built this character in the beginning to benefit skills that I don't typically use. But in choosing those things, I did not get the starting weapons that I probably would have wanted. The spear, nice, but not having a bow when I am primarily somebody who has, even in the first, Mount and Blade game, used a bow 90, 95% of the time. Not having it definitely is is a hindrance. Nope, not hostile action. So when I even, I had shown you that nice unit. I guess I'll send my troops. And now I'll attack. Don't have too much hope. So took out his four. Nope, and there's me down again. So, more than likely, I will be heading out of the Aserai lands. Fine, accept the offer. Recruit troops. Hopefully I can gain enough troops that I am safe enough to get out of the area. And here we go. Step bow. And range arrows. And sell the 2 Highland throwing axes. I'm going to get some money. And then grab... If you look, you see the price over here is red. It says this item is 50% more expensive. So don't buy that. If you buy with gold colored, it means that it's at price. And then green is good. Obviously, the beer is still very expensive. But being able to buy things cheap, you also can use that to your advantage when trying to be like a merchant. So you buy this oil for cheap here. Let's say we buy all of it. And then we'll grab some meat just to make sure we have enough food. So we bought all that oil. And then perhaps in the next town of Kasira, oil is, a commodity that they need. So you go to trade, you look at oil, it's still at 66, so it's not a commodity here. And you may have to experiment a little, and it may take you, I may have to go all the way up to Poros again, but if I can sell it at, even at 120%, then I will not only make money, but my trade here will go up as well. Let's make sure none of these are getting too close. Riding, like I said, as long as you're always on your horse, will be a very important skill to constantly have going up. So we'll go to Sanala, trade, oil, now it's 45. So it's even worse to sell the oil now. We'll wait here for just a moment. And Unkid is yet another person I have to speak to. So now that quest is just advanced a little bit farther. Recruit some more troops. Just to make sure that I'm safe on my way out. And as you get higher steward scores, and it's actually your leadership score, you can get this combat tips, small experience bonus per day, and even staying out of a fight, you can start upgrading some of your lower tier troops. We're just going to make sure that we're not going to be totally hamstrung. And we'll stop in Bach. See what we can recruit there. Maybe take out those looters real quick. Yep. We're going to try to find those looters again. There was a band of 19 of them. We may not be able to find... Oh, nope, they're right here. So we'll run these guys down. Hopefully. And those 8 that were nearby also decided that they wished to join. And I'm going to now be able to kind of singular Cantabrian circle around and pick off some of these looters. So the harder the shot is to make, the better your experience you're going to get is. So headshots from a great distance are going to be the best. And the good thing about doing this is now I have split their army. So now they have a huge chunk back here. And then while these guys are engaging my troops, I can come in, do a little rear charge, take out a looter or two. And then we don't have to worry about such a large force.
On me! Make a line! Attack!
Ordered my men to just charge and attack. Get in here. And hopefully I can run down some of these fleeing troops. If you're able to, I would always run down fleeing troops. Just get you a little bit more skill points. And as my skill increases, my accuracy will also increase, even while riding. Not, perfectly while riding, but it will be at least passable enough where I can hit shots on the run. And these guys will probably exit the battlefield, before I'm able to get to them. But ultimately, 8 Asrai recruits were able to be upgraded, and I'm going to turn them, vast majority of them, into, well, no, I'm going to split it. And we'll go to Guaz. Trade. Oil is worth 63 or 67 here. Apparently I can't read. We'll sell these things because I didn't pay for them. I don't really need to pay attention to the cost. Vigorous. Increase horse's hit points. So still can't sell here. We'll go to Orticia, and perhaps I'll be able to show you by that point tournament. Typically by this point I have entered in at least one tournament. It's kind of odd to not see any. Arena, there is a tournament going on, and we'll jump right in. So for winning, you will get these Imperial padded shoulders, which are semi-decent. They're tier 4 armor, and you can bet on yourself if you think you're going to win. I don't have enough money, so I don't believe that it's worth it. So a lot of the time, the tournament will be filled out by men you bring. So that's why there was an Aserai recruit in this, melee tournament. Alright, and throw into his stomach. Damn it. Okay, one down. His horse is down. If I can pick up some more ammunition, I've got 2 more shots. So sometimes they'll be team battles, sometimes they will be solos. Teams can be good, but teams can also not matter. And the biggest thing that you have to know is that you come into the battle with your armor, but not your weapon. So whatever weapon they want you to have, you're coming in with that. Alright, and our team qualified, so we're going to join the next fight. But, so if I had, really high tier armor, it would be way better, because everyone gets the same, weapons in the end. So I'm up against an Imperial Equitip, a pretty challenging opponent. I may be able to win, even though I'm playing on realistic. The AI sometimes isn't very smart. Obviously, I could predict their pattern, and I ended up winning that. So I could have bet, and I could have won. So there, you get that 3 renown, and I get those Imperial padded shoulders. So you leave my renown. My renown has gone up. So you go to the clan and clan tier. So at 50, yep. So now, clan tier bonus, additional clan party, additional party size, and eligible for being a vassal as a mercenary for any of the kingdoms. But then, this padded shoulder, it increases my body armor by 4, my arm armor by 4. So, do I look, the most stylish character? No. But, you definitely are able to improve your character, even if you don't look the best. But this oil is now worth 77. So I bought it at, I think, even if I bought it at 66, it's a markup price of 11. So as you sell, it's going to go down. So now it's at 73. But in the end, I'm going to make a pretty sizable profit on just the oil alone. So we'll take these looters out, and we'll probably have to call it there. I will participate in this battle. Surrender or die. So the next thing that we will be trying to do when we next play will be to get a better horse. You want speed, but you also want maneuverability, and increase the size of our army, which will always pretty much be a goal of ours. Nice headshot there. That one's dead. He missed. Headshot. You can always check down on the feed on the bottom left for where you hit, But if you see a small little red dot show up, as far as I am aware, that means that you got a headshot. So take these prisoners, Aserai tribesmen. So the Aserai tribesmen can either go to skirmisher, archer, and master archer, or you can just get some pretty decent infantry. So these infantry are shielded, these are non-shielded, and then these are your archers, and then these are your, obviously, your cavalry. So I'm going to go skirmisher to get to cavalry. We will grab all this stuff, and we'll leave it here. Thank you guys so much for joining, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this content. If you find that this content is more to your liking than the Warhammer content, perhaps we'll switch the consistency and have Mountain Blade be the more consistent of the two. I don't ever really want to drop away from Warhammer. It definitely has a special place in my heart and will continue to grow as a game. Not that Mountain Blade won't, but you can also pick up Warhammer for about a half hour. Picking this up for a half hour would be maybe not the best, unless we had saved right before like a big siege and then we just fought a siege for a half hour. But those are plans for the future. Any feedback that you guys can give would be more than helpful. And if you are enjoying the content that I'm putting out here on the channel, feel free to like and subscribe. And until next time, I've been Father of the Ever-Chosen.